About an hour and a half southwest of Chicago with traffic. You've got Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois, a 1.5 mile banked oval that's been here since 1999. And of course, this racetrack is super fast, super low grip, offers multi-groove racing and all sorts of fun stuff. And it's round 10 of the Area Cup Series season. And with just 2 rounds remaining after the conclusion of tonight until the playoffs begin, drivers and teams are both focusing on the playoffs ahead. And if you're not in it, you need to win it to get in it. Welcome to round 10 of the Area Cup Series. Kyle Heyer joined by Hunter Sleppy and Finian DeCuna tonight. Guys, really excited to be here. This is a home track of sorts for me. I haven't been to the Oval. I've been by it as recently as last night. I was at Audubon Country Club this weekend for Grid Life Chicagoland, and we're here at Chicagoland Speedway tonight. Finian, welcome aboard. Round 10 of the season.
Yeah, round 10, and it is slowly winding things down, at least for the regular season. The spots are running out. But we've seen some similar names up near the top dominating, especially guys like Seth Knoll, 4 wins this season. Of course, Jake Nichols just becoming the second multi-time winner this season. But we'll see if anyone else can join them in the wins column. Quite a few drivers have not yet gotten a win. Guys like Michael Curran, Connor Horn, James Scioli especially, still yetting to get that win. Maybe now could be the first one for them.
Yeah, we're running out of time here on the regular season. Only got a handful of races or so to go before we get to Talladega, in which that's the ultimate wild card, Kyle. Anyone could win, and it doesn't matter where you're from, no matter if you're top of points, bottom in points, still got a shot. Yeah, looking at some of the guys are on the outside looking in, looking at Greg Mitchell. He sits right around 20th there in that not really cut-off spot, but if he were to win a race, he'd have to be inside the top 20 points to lock in. Douglas Dubiggy needs a bounce-back performance after last week. Same thing with Philip Groner, which Groner, I believe he actually missed the race, so not going to help him much. But yeah, we're heading to a mile and a half, Kyle, where the racers, I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm excited for Chicago. I need to regroup. Give me a minute.
Yeah, that's all right. We've got 3 of these left on the calendar. Chicagoland tonight. We've got the Kansas Speedway on race 16 and Atlanta Motor Speedway, a mile and a half that'll end our season. So I think the drivers that can find speed here are certainly going to be ones to watch if they can make the playoffs and make it through the playoffs. This is one of the first tracks, I think, that we're really going to get to see who can handle the high speeds and low grip of this worn-out racetrack. So pavement has been here since 2001. Broke ground a little earlier than that, Finian, but it has really aged like a fine wine. And while it's not on the current NASCAR schedule, there's lots of fans that would like it to be because of the racing that it offers. I don't know what tonight holds, though, with the next gen, with that low tire wear that we've seen on the car this season. So some unknowns coming into the night.
Couple of unknowns. If it's anything like what we've seen in the past, racing has been pretty spectacular, surprisingly. You know, Chicagoland's not been anything too thrilling, especially with the later Gen 6 package with the high downforce, low horsepower. But with the next gen, it's actually worked out pretty well. A decent amount of pack style racing, but it's not impossible to pass. You can set up moves, you can work around traffic, work around each other, and I think that's what we're going to see as a lot of action tonight, especially with a huge field of nearly 40 cars.
Yeah, and looking at the past history here, we've had a different winner each time. Jake Nichols won back in season 3 when we were crowning the champion there. Seth Knoll also as well won from the pole, actually, and then James Scioli won last season. Started all the way back in 24th. That's the furthest anyone's come from the field to have a shot at winning, and he led the least amount of laps as well with just 3. And I'm just new goofing. That pretty much describes me in the beginning of this broadcast.
Michael Curran giving us the great onboard tonight. We've got Connor Horn giving us his onboard. He'll be in the booth for the rest of the week here with the trucks and the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series on Thursday night. Brett Puncari is awaiting his go here for qualifying in just a moment's time. Ricky Springer is giving us his show, as is Bryce Senesac, as always. So those are onboard cameras tonight here, guys. But 140 laps around here, 210 miles. Finian, we have seen in the past that this race tends to go pretty green. 3 cautions for 11 laps the last time out. About an hour and 20 minutes from flag to flag. And we'll see how this shapes up tonight. But I could anticipate this track, this race, being pretty clean and green and offering also green flag pit stops, which could be a wrench in things too.
Oh, it definitely can be, because we see quite a few times, drivers maybe not exactly count for that in their strategy. Drivers playing a little bit too aggressive. So we'll see how it plays out, especially with, the tire wear. That's, like you mentioned before, a little bit of a question mark as qualifying begins.
Sorry, Finian. English is very tough.
It is a tough language.
Yeah. You mentioned it, Kyle. We rarely have yellows. The average of the last caution is 93 to go. Last season, it was 74 to go when the last yellow came out. And pretty much late race passes can be done for the lead. Within the last 40 laps, that's where the race-winning move was made. Nichols, Nolan, Skyley. He only led 3 laps, and it was the last 3 laps because that's when he took the lead. But we could see a 4th different winner here. I saw Ricky Springer at the top of the practice sheets, Blaze McKinney, Landon Cardolo as well. So a lot of interesting names up here that are going to be contending for not only a win, but a possible ticket to the playoffs.
Brett Pancari rounds turn 4 on his qualifying lap is going to begin the about 30-second trip around the 1.5-mile Chicagoland Speedway off into turn 1. I imagine qualifying, we're likely going to see cars bottom feeding here on the racetrack, Finian, but we have seen in the past that outer line can often be the best place to pass once tires start to wear out.
It definitely can be. Just carrying that speed throughout a corner is really the best way to try to, move yourself up forward, especially when everyone's bottom feeding near the bottom of the racetrack. That's typically the quicker way around. As we look at Brent Pancari across the line for him, he'll be one of the first drivers to get on the board. And we'll set the benchmark for everyone. Trying to see the time. For him, it's a 30.883. Jonathan Oates, meanwhile, on the 45, he's jumped up to the top of the boards, and we know that 45 car can be pretty fast.
There's Bailey Turner coming out of turn 4, looking to continue to build his momentum in the right direction across the stripe.
Ooh, that was slow. Off pace there. Peyton Howell went to the top of the board there. And Robert Colgan goes 9th quick. And others on their fast lap include Emerson Arden and Greg Mitchell, who enters turn 3 at the moment. Actually, that's turn 1. He's off onto the back straightaway. Of course, the feature you always got to mention is that slightly curved back straightaway, giving somewhat of a unique run down the back stretch, and visibility can often become an issue. You get cars ping-ponging off the fence. And in the past, turn 2, the exit of that has been the trouble spot here, Finian.
Yeah, it's usually where we've seen the big one occur, is coming out of turn 2. Like you said, I don't know what it particularly is about this track. Just with everyone, I would say it has probably a lot to do with the fact that the line just kind of gravitates towards that wall. Everyone was flying off turn 2 right near the wall. That's the optimal line. So I think that has something to do with the wrecks. But yeah, turn 4, not as much, not as bad as Nick Silver comes out of turn 4. And across the line for the 99 machine. For him, it'll be 177.9. That'll put him up to 9th.
Well, I have a little theory about this, where you see the brand signage along the backstretch, and it begins in the middle of the second turn, and then right there in the middle of turn 3 as well. So that can kind of throw off, for me personally, it can kind of throw me off, where it's like, whoa, it just goes from a white wall to an orange wall, and then you're just moving up, and you don't even know you're moving up, and you're like, oh, that's the wall. Oh, I'm hitting the orange wall. Okay, I don't want to be in there. So I think, me personally, that would be a little bit distracting, but yeah, it could be that line when you gravitate towards the exit of the turn, get that wide arc, and it could be that. Turn 4 is going to be an issue as well. Right on corner exit, that safer barrier kind of sticks out. It doesn't go all the way around the tri-oval, so it just sticks out like a sore thumb.
Ed Scher goes 10th quick. And the other trouble spot we've seen at this place and other 1.5-mile tracks like it, Finian, is the entrance to turn 1 as cars kind of blend back up onto the racing line. See that safer barrier sticks out? We've seen a number of cars just pack that thing in the fence on the run down to turn 1.
Yeah, especially with drivers taking use of the apron and on the front straightaway, which is legal. So you're going to see drivers take advantage of it. They're taking advantage of it in qualifying at the moment. Speaking of which, Justin Bonner, and really great time for him. 9,000s off the pole time. Second on the board, Michael Curran up to 3rd. Seth Knoll in 4th. Jake Nichols just set a time for 6th. David Weishart 7th. As you look at the 41 and Tyler Nichols, he's coming across the line. One of the last few drivers to set a time down. It's going to be 30.8. Going to put him, I think, in the midfield. I would say 8. You don't even know what.
Moving down. We got guys putting in their last time within the last 30 seconds or so. Skyley up to 5th. Springer was 8th, and he's fallen down to 11th now. Ryan Hart's in the 3, looking to complete a time, and his counterpart, Matthew Bell, in the 8, looking to put a time down with 15 seconds remaining.
Connor Horn's also on a lap, and it's a 30.7 37.6, and that'll put him fourth. Matthew Bell goes to 38.41, and that is going to drop him into 11th spot. Jake Matheson came across the stripe, but I think he might have gotten in the wall. I don't see a valid time for him, nor Connor Okresic. So 40 drivers in the field here tonight. This is going to be an interesting race, 140 laps on the evening here. But race fans, as always, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel if you have not. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat and earn double channel points that you can use to redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. Join today at twitch.tv/Area iRacing. And beautiful scenes from downtown Chicago. I got from Chicagoland area to Chicago last night in 57 minutes, so I'll call that a success. It is not too far away, the third largest city by population in the country. It is my hometown, and what you're looking at right here is about a mile and a half, 2 miles away from where I am. It'll be a little more than that. So there's the L going across the Chicago River, but we got no rivers, no natural water features of any kind here in Joliet, or Joylet, as I call it affectionately. So a couple minutes of warm up here, guys, before we get going. But playoff contention, that's always in the back of your mind, Hunter. But this racetrack, it has a tendency to get hot and greasy as well, but it's not so hot today, only 87-degree track temp.
Yeah, a lot more grip in the racetrack with the track temp only being 87. That's a bit shocking with the sun shining, but yeah, we've seen in the past 2 wide, 3 wide, sometimes even 4 wide. You can do it on the front stretch. Back stretch, you can get away with it, but then you got to blend everything back before you enter into the turns. And, like you mentioned it, Finney mentioned it. I really think the way with this racetrack is where the safer barriers stick out and where they don't stick out. Like right here, exit the turn 4, they kind of go away as they're getting on the front stretch, and then they got to merge back heading into turn 1. And then you'll see that safer barrier stick out. Well, you didn't see it too much there, but some guys are going to be running all the way up. That's the beauty of this racetrack. You can run bottom, middle, top, and if you're running the top, you got to be aware of that safer barrier heading into turn 1.
Yeah, there's a great look at it right there, and it's just as you're arcing in, so depending on how you approach it, sometimes you can get run into it without even really trying all that hard. So historically, though, we've talked about how green this race can be. Let's talk about green flag pit stops and the challenges of pit lane entry here. Finney, this is not one of the most difficult ovals to get onto pit lane, but it's certainly not one of the easiest because of the tri-oval configuration and how tight that pit lane is to the left. You've really got to slow things down to get down there. We've seen a lot of pit entry violations here in the past for commitment line issues.
Yeah, definitely one of the more difficult pit lanes, you know, kind of up there with Darlington, up there with Dover. The racetrack we saw earlier in the season, so it's definitely something these drivers got to keep in mind. You want to practice it at least once, just because there's always that chance that we do go green for a majority of the race, and I think the races here in the past have been fairly green almost across all 3 series. But before I go further, I want to play a little bit of a game, guys. I want you to go through the list of drivers we have and tell me who's notable that is missing.
Uh-oh. Well, this is an interesting game.
Going.
I'm trying to think.
Travis Beckner.
Yes, because he's been a naughty boy, and he actually ended up getting, because of course the rec score that we've been having for the season, new for the season, ended up getting a 1-week suspension from accumulating too many penalty points. So he's going to be missing out of here, and we're talking about the playoffs. Big implication. That's going to be huge implications for him because no win for Travis Beckner this season so far, and he is currently sitting 9th, and of course missing a race is going to throw him down quite a few points.
Wow.
Ooh. Yeah, that is not good at all.
Did we just get a checker or did I not? No, we didn't. Okay. I never reset my flags. Yeah. We're a few minutes away from checkering here, but before we read you our starting lineup, we'll tell you about our starting grid sponsor, and that is Central Mobile Homes. Looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or a Triple Crown trailer? Look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and Triple Crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to CentralMobileHomesInc.com to get started today. That's CentralMobileHomesInc.com to get started today. They're proudly our starting grid sponsor here this evening. And it is a full 40-car field, 10 races into a 17-race season. And Finney, that's just been one sign of many of the strength of this program through this season and the charter system and everything, with all the drivers sticking around, really competing all the way through. It has been probably one of the best entried seasons we've seen across all 3 series.
One of the best seasons I've seen as far as participation in all my years in iRacing. There's usually some amount of drop-off, but we still have nearly a full field 10 weeks into a season. It's genuinely phenomenal. There's so much talent in this series, so many good drivers in this series, and that's to be said too, is that a lot of good racing all throughout the field. We've seen guys race clean for 20th, 30th, up near the top for the lead especially. So, and people have been wanting to come back every week. So it's been phenomenal to see so many cars, so many faces return week after week after week, and hopefully continues into the postseason. That's usually where the most drop off is. But I mean, if the start of the season is anything to go by, we should be fine.
Yeah, some guys who won't be fine, though, I'm just looking at this now, guys are going to be serving a drive-through under the green flag. Yeah, we got Landon Cardolo, Jeremy Miller, and then Emerson Arden as well. And then we got guys that are already dropping to the back. You mentioned Justin Bondurant. He had a very fast time. All for naught, he's going to be starting at the end of the longest line. Cameron Ahern as well. Looking at Ed Shearer Jr., Dom DeLeo. There's another one on there. It is Jake Nichols, actually. That was a big 2-point penalty that he had for Montreal last week.
Yeah, that's interesting to note. Finian, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yes, the contact that he had. I think, was it with Sakaioli or was it with Knowles? It was one of his teammates.
Whoever didn't win the race.
Short-term memory loss.
Short-term memory loss is real.
I was going to make the point.
Was it No, it was Scioli.
I think it was Scioli. I think the point being is that we come off of a road race, the final one of the season, and while we didn't have any catastrophes there, it's a road course, how could you? We did have a lot of one-on-one contact that kind of tipped people over the edge there. So coming back into the oval side here this week, everyone's tired of turning right this season, so we're going to head back down to the racetrack and get rolling with our Central Mobile Homes starting lineup. Let's head down to the grid and get things rolling. On the front row, it's Peyton Howell in the number 52, and Justin Bondurant will start alongside him. It's an all-Chevy Camaro front row, Finian.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's going to be having to drop to the back, as well as a couple other drivers. Michael Curran up in third in the number 24 machine. Next to him, Connor Horn lined up in the 42. He's lined up in fourth.
Seth Knowles starts fifth place in his number 1 Toyota, and James Scioli starts alongside him in the number 7. He starts sixth.
Adam Cabot's going to line up in 7th place in the 07 machine. Next to him is going to be Jonathan Oates, lined up in 8th in the 45.
Ninth place is Jake Nichols in the number 73. David Weissar starts 10th in the number 33 Camry.
Yeah, and the OLs for the 73 Nichols, that's going to be big to see him come up through the order. Matthew Bell lined up in 8th place, in the car in 11th place. Next to Tyler Nichols, he's in the 41, lined up in 12th.
13th place, Blaze McKinney in the number 87. Ricky Springer starts 14th in his number 51 Toyota.
Moving back to 15th, it's going to be Mason Kane in the number 31 car. Next to him, Ed Robertson in the 64, lined up 16th.
17th place, Brett Punkari in the number 35 machine. Andrew Payne in his Camaro starts on the outside of row 9 in the 70.
Moving on back to 19th, it's going to be Ryan Swan lined up in the 20 car. Next to him, Cameron Hearn in the number 4. He's lined up in 20th.
21st place is Ed Scherer Jr. in the number 17 Ford Mustang. Philip Groner starts alongside in the 22nd place in the number 11.
23rd, it's going to be Greg Mitchell lined up in the 2. Next to him, it's going to be Seth Berger in the 77, lined up in 24th.
25th place, Nick Silver in the 99 Camry. Max Service rolls off 26th in the 81 Chevy.
Back in row 14 is going to be Reece Schaefer in the number 97 machine. Next to him, it's going to be Drew Jura in 28th in the 13 car.
29th place, Ben Pierce in the 65 Camaro. Emerson Arden will start alongside him in 30th, the outside of row 15 in the 57 machine.
Then we go on to 31st, Garrett Grant lined up in the number 5 car. Next to him, Ryan Hartz in the number 3, way back in 32nd. 33rd
place is Bryce Senesac. He's got an onboard camera with us tonight. Landon Cardolo in 34th is in that number 19 machine.
Moving back to 35th, it's going to be Jeremy Miller in the number 30, who has a drive-through. Next to him, Bailey Turner in the 25, lined up 36th.
37th is Douglas Newbigging. Robert Colgan will start on the outside of row 19 in the number 94.
Then in the back, rounding out our row, very strong row, Jake Matheson in the 54 machine, lined up 39th. Connor Okrezik lined up in the 14 car, rounding out your field of 40 drivers.
Pace car rolls around at the moment, and lights are not on, so we would, in theory, be going green this time by but we'll keep an eye on that. In the meantime,
no, I think there's a little bit of a chicanery, shenaniganry, I guess, with the admin.
Charcuterie.
Yes, yeah. Charcuterie board. It does say that there's going to be 2 laps.
Okay, good to know. So we'll get another lap. Let's talk about our commentator picks, because I have won 3 races, but I have managed to throw my points in the garbage. So I am third. So I get to pick first, and I am going to take a little bit of a risk, perhaps. I'm going to roll with the pole sitter, Peyton Howell. I think he can get it done. He's got a win on the season. Looks really strong tonight. So I'm going to go with, maybe an obvious pick by position, maybe not an obvious pick by race finish, but that 52, I think, has got it tonight.
Okay, interesting. So I'm second in the points somehow without a win. This guy is going to get me my first win tonight. He was fast in practice. He's starting at the back. I'm going to go with Blaze McKinnon, the 87.
Ooh, that's a bold pick. I'm looking here. I'm trying to see who I like as far as who I think is going to win this. Let's see. Where is he starting? I just want to double check my math before I solidify the pick. Ricky Springer, he was fastest in practice. I think he's going to be the fastest one around here. I'm going to go with the 51 in 14th.
Surprised no one took the 24 or the 42.
I was thinking them, but I was like, you know what, I want to change it up a little bit. I'm going to go with my gut on this one.
Well, we'll see if the guts pay off. What's our timeline looking like here? Late in the afternoon. Not sure we'll get to nighttime. It's going to be an evening race, I think.
I can tell you there's no rain on the radar.
Well, that's thank you for that, weatherman.
Wow.
Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy? Let's have another look at that, though. 74 degrees in the air. Nice, cool temperatures. It was in the 80s this weekend, and Audubon Country Club is always like the surface of the sun. They feel the need to reseal their pavement every single year, and it's always jet black blacktop. But track temp, 84 degrees, low humidity, just a slight breeze out of the east. And it's time to go racing, playoff style. We're battling for the playoffs here. 3 rounds remain in the regular season, and it is crunch time for those on the outside looking in. About an hour and 12 minutes from now, and 140 laps, we'll know who gets round 10 of the Area Cup Series in Chicagoland. Green flag and racing in Joliet, Illinois. One complete, and across the stripe, Connor Horn vying for the lead, but it's Peyton Howell that has it. Horn's up a couple of spots. Curhan drops into third, and they're side by side and flaring out behind him, Finian.
Yeah, thing to know actually with the 42, Connor Horn is under investigation for improper start procedure. He got a black flag from the sim for beating the leader to the line, so they cleared it for now, but they're investigating to see if it was actually worth it. But he's not waiting for anything. He's going to throw it to the inside of Peyton out and take the lead.
Going to go for it all.
Sorry to cut you off. They just actually they held up the black flag for being ahead of the leader, so he's gonna have to come down.
Oh, forget everything I just said. He got to lead a lap. At least he got to lead a lap, but now he's got his work cut out for him as he's gonna have to serve that penalty under green flag condition.
That's a big hit for the 42, especially when this race is known for going so green so long. He can only hope for a quick yellow and not go a lap down. Lennon Cardullo and Emerson Arden and Jeremy Miller have served their drive-throughs. Connor's going to stay on the racetrack for now. He got a couple laps to serve that as there's a little bit of jockeying behind him.
So Ricky Springer hit the turn 4 wall. They're all getting really tight. And again, we were talking about it before, how everyone kind of typically gravitates towards the same line on the exit. That's where we see a lot of the wrecks. Usually out of turn 2, but it's tight out of turn 4.
Robertson there, the 64, getting close to that, running in 8th, and Mason Kane not too far behind, also running up there, but looking on board with Jonathan Oates in the 45, looking to get a strong run to the inside, as you see Connor Horn on the left dive to pit road to serve that penalty.
Yeah, frustrating start for him, but if you're going to have an issue, you better have it early. Up on the outside, that's Andrew Payne in the 70. They're already seeing some drivers trend up to the outside lane to try to find some speed up there, including Mason Kane in the 31. Seth Berger's up there. The 20 of Ryan Swan is up there. The drivers experimenting here early on with different lanes.
Yeah, might as well try to experiment now while you're in traffic. Ryan Swan, though, he actually caught a little bit of the wall further on behind, but he gone off of it. And it's really tough once you get that car into the wall. It feels like it'll never, ever separate from the wall again. But still double foul for the majority of the field on back from Adam Cabot. For Adam Cabot, a great start for him up in the top 5. Ricky Springer, also a really great start. He's in 4th, and I'm just saying it now is the reason I picked him.
One of the early goers moving up in the order, trying to get around Seth Knoll for 3rd, but no avail. Meanwhile, this is well, there's the Springer machine, and to the, well, I thought that was Ryan Swan. I saw a HyperX up there, but he's being attacked to the inside by Adam Cabot, Michael Curran getting the draft, as well as Andrew Payne in the 70 right behind him.
Big sends into turn 1 here. Wide racetrack, a lot of different places you can put the car. Not as line sensitive as a place like Darlington, for example. There's the 11 of Philip Groner in 8th spot, shooting the gap here. He started 22nd, and look at the climb he has had, Finian.
Yeah, I think might have also been helped by a couple of drivers getting some EOLs and penalties, but has also pretty much driven up here. And for Philip Groner, he's actually been really quiet in it recently. Up until his last race at Darlington. Before that, you know, he shot out of the cannon, finishing 6th, 5th, and 5th in his first few races, then really struggled for the next 4. Now looks like he's climbing back forward to his typical form up near the top 5. Michael Curran trying to get around him on the outside, and a juke up ahead. Adam Cabot and Ricky Springer jockeying for a position for 4th.
Yeah, Cabot and Springer still door-to-door for the 4th spot, and Groner catching those two in a hurry. Meanwhile, behind them, you saw Robertson, Curran, Weissart, now Mason Kane entering the top 10. They were duking it out for position as well, but this 11 is on the move, but so is it Robertson. Look at him on the outside.
Yeah, that's 64 trying to find some grip up top there. So is the 33 of Weishart, who slid in behind him. Field's beginning to stretch out, and like we've said, this is a race that can just go very green. So get into a rhythm. Don't burn your stuff up too early here. We're seeing only 2/10 of drop-off 9 laps into this race, and unlikely to see a ton, at least tonight. We might see plenty more tomorrow and Thursday with the trucks in the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series, but for now, just got to make sure you don't beat up your stuff. And I think the thing with the next-gen tires, Finn, it seems like they don't lose a lot of speed, but they definitely drive bad after a while.
Yeah, it's similar to what we see in the IndyCar a lot. You know, you lose that drivability in the corner, the ability to shift your lines to move up and down the track. And that's what really hurts you. But meanwhile, once you get back out in clean air, you're pretty much as fast as you were towards the beginning of the run. So I think the next-gen tire is very similar in that respect. So it's just a matter of just keeping that drivability, especially when you're in traffic, and such heavy traffic like we're seeing right now, with everyone all so close together. The majority of the field that's still together from 36 on back within 5 seconds of each other.
And Curran actually on the downward here. He's outside the top 10 now. That's Seth Berger in the 77 there on the outside, again around him. Meanwhile, battle for the lead brewing up. Florida State Builders 52 to the outside of the Solar Flare Racing number 7. Payne Howell, don't think he led that time by. Skyly did. He's got his teammate Seth Knoll running on the outside, and then look at that Springer on the 3rd lane going through 2.
Springer's trying the high side there. Seth Knoll is eyeing up these two. Howell led the opening 11 laps. Skyly just nabbed one, but Seth Knoll wants to go through the middle. He's going to throttle up, drop to the bottom of the 52, and set chase now on the back of that pink number 7.
You're doing a solid job. It was a great run by James Skyly. He threw it into turn 3 the previous time to get at some purges alongside and got it done. Seth Knoll now on through. Now Philip Groner trying to join the Solar Flare Racing train, the 5th Solar Flare car, trying to work his way on through, trying to fight with Peyton Howell. Howell just trying to keep something going on the outside, not be completely freight trained by quicker drivers in behind. Meanwhile, Adam Cabot throwing to the inside, 3 wide.
Looking 4 wide, there's the 52 of Howell slides up, and Philip Groner finds himself in the middle now with the Ricky Springer machine still moving up, and Ed Robertson looking to follow tire tracks as well. The 1107, a little contacted into turn 1.
Yeah, a little argy-bargy there down into the opening corner. That was a big send from Adam Cabot, but it was opportunistic. But now he's stuck on the bottom, and he's going to have the 64 pull up alongside his outside, and this is where the hunter becomes the hunted. If you don't get the job done, you know, you go back to junior slide job. You got to get it done and get up into the outside lane to protect.
Solid up there, and I see Ricky Springer getting a bit of a run to the inside of the 52. He might actually be able to send it this time by into turn 1. But look at how much 52 is able to make that speed on the outside. And just look at everyone in general. Everyone's fanned out, all looking for clean air. And then converging back on the exit of turn 2. Here's the run with Seth Knoll working to the inside of Scally. Will throw it down there into turn 3, and that should give him the spot.
We'll have it for now and for the foreseeable future as the 7 looks to regain that ground and position that he lost to his teammate. And while Philip Groner on the outside there looking to get around Peyton Howell for 3rd as the field flies into turn 1.
Yeah, the speeds here just get so high around this racetrack as drivers keep up their momentum, kind of rim riding around here. Mason Kane got a little tight out of turn 2. And the 52 Howell now drops behind the 07, and Ricky Springer goes to the top here to potentially take yet another spot away. It's that 20 of Ryan Swan that you were mentioning earlier, and 19th to 11th on the opening laps of this race as things tighten up ahead.
Final Michael Curran, who has not had a good start to this race in the 24 machine, he's dropped back to 12th. It could be in the cards for him. Just kind of waiting to see how things play out, not push his stuff too early on as Ryan Swan works to his outside. As you look further up the order, there's 51 getting a run of Adam Cabot as everyone gets nose to tail to Solar Flare 1, 2, 3 at the top of the order.
Look at the outside lane. You can see the run starting to get generated there. Springer on the outside of Cabot. Cabot still fighting off on the inside lane. Meanwhile, Peyton Howell's looking to re-enter the top 5 and bring Mason Kane to the party as well. Up to 7th is the 31, and he's looking to pick up another spot.
Yeah, Mason Kane wanted to stop the bleeding, so he's jumped in behind this group of Toyotas. 4 of them, in fact, that are all finding speed up on the outside of the racetrack. So if you can't beat them, join them, right? So he's going to jump up there even a little higher than the 51 and 3 and 4. Look at Cabot right in the quarter panel out of turn 4.
Very solid run for him, but it's going to lose a lot of speed off as Howell gets a huge run on, and there goes Mason Kane. And for Mason Kane, this is a phenomenal run. This is the highest this car has ran in a while. Best finish we've seen for him was at Daytona at the beginning of the season. Since then, his best finish has only been 22nd. So Kane's having a fantastic day. I think he wants to keep this going as long as he can with a decent run. Now looks towards the middle gap open, trying to look to the outside of Cabot and the inside of Howell as Howell shuts the door on the exit.
Oh, nice run for the 31 of Kane. You can see you give the shove to Peyton Howell there on the outside. It's going to propel both of them around the 07. Well, temporarily for Kane, but to the inside for the lead. It's Scioli underneath Knoll.
Does anyone sense trouble brewing right now? Everything's kind of condensing back together 20 laps into this run, and people are now getting more desperate to get the line that they want. So James Scioli clears Knoll, but behind him a bit of a hornet's nest here, and it's buzzing right now.
It is buzzing quite a bit. That being said, though, it looks like the people are struggling to make the moves that they were able to in the opening lap. So we're talking about that loss in drivability. It seems like drivers are not able to quite send it as much as they could before. Maybe if you time it right, maybe if you have the run. But it's slowly, I wouldn't say separating out, but it's I want to say it's calming down, but then they got doing this in the middle of the field. 3 wide, Blaze McKinney in the middle, Jonathan Oates who's inside, and Matthew Bell to the outside in the 8. And you got Greg Mitchell up there in the 2, also trying to push on forward.
Yeah, there's a reason he was second fastest in practice. He's just slicing and dicing through the field. Started all the way back in 30th. Actually, started 13th, but had to start at the rear with the EOL. So basically had to fight and claw his way back to where he started. And now he's starting to eat in towards the top 10. Got Greg Mitchell in front of him, Ed Robertson to the inside, and Kane almost scraping the wall there in 2.
Really tight quarters on the back straightaway, and we're not done battling for the lead yet. These Solar Flare cars are tucked in tight. Now you've got the Sprinter Racing Graphics 51 of Ricky Springer up here, and he's vying for position on that outside lane, although he's got to fight off the hard-charging Adam Cabot on the bottom.
It's a push from Peyton Howell in behind the head of Adam Cabot, so you'll secure that 4th place spot. Now it's a matter of dealing with the Solar Flare trio up near the front of the order. And I want to say that they're going to be trying to work together, but it doesn't look like it at the moment. You look further on back in the middle of the field.
And right there, Jonathan Oates slid up and going to lose a little bit of momentum. Greg Mitchell to the outside. Blaze McKinney running the Larson line around here, all the way up near the outside wall, making it work. A little bit of smoke up ahead, but he's going to give a bump to the 2 of Mitchell, or some momentum boost heading into turn 1.
This is what you worry about right there. That safer barrier gets so close. The margins are so small. Mitchell throttled up mid-corner there. Might hurt him on the exit. McKinney's going to set up for it. But you're kind of boxed in, so you've got to work with the drivers that are directly ahead of you. And it has just been fierce in the top 20 here since the drop of the green. There's the 45 and 87 almost coming together.
Yeah, so I'm going to get really close to each other entering turn 3, and they back out of it, which will keep ahead of McKinney. Anyway, so someone diving below the apron. I want to say it was Adam Cabot trying to make a move on.
Oh, in the 45.
Oh, that's a recipe for disaster that they didn't brew up. They didn't follow through with it, but Weishart's stuck in the middle now with Mitchell to the outside. McKinney going to fill that hole as well.
Yeah, really high octane back here. And when will it reach a flash point here? The 45, the 33, and the 87 are just absolutely leaving it all out there on the line.
Robertson scraping the wall through 3 and 4 that last time by. His car's starting to fade away.
25 laps down and a lot to go.
Oates is still stuck on the bottom, and I think that's really starting to hurt him because he just gets absolutely destroyed with the run off the corner, missing out on the slipstream and that run. It's really killing his speed. He's back down to 13th. Finally can get back at least 2 wide. Uppel's going to try to charge again on the inside, though. He's going to make it 3 wide on the exit with Weishart in the middle.
Look at this chaos brewing. Weishart still in the middle of 3 wide. Meanwhile, McKinney on the move up inside the top 10. Trying to get around the 31 of Mason Kane. He's been clipping the wall the last couple of laps as well. He'll slide up and complete the pass. Kane gonna have to check up.
And Oates made up a lot of ground there on the bottom that time. A lot of shuffling around here as everyone tries to find some grip. Look at the sends from the 45 on corner entry. Now how much tire, how much right front is that burning up as he leans on that into the first corner?
Yeah, that's the issue is when you start to do that, you really start to push that tire in. Again, we talk about the tire not being nearly as much as it is with the Pro Series car and the Truck Series, but you're still putting pressure on it, you're still ruining that rotation, and it definitely can affect you, especially in the long run, which is what this race is looking like it's going to be as the laps continue to tick off. We're almost 30 laps into this race, and no signs of caution just yet. It's been crazy, but no caution at the moment to slow this down.
Lap times are starting to fade off a bit, but the speeds definitely aren't. It's about 8 to 9 tenths of a second slower than what the fastest laps were. So guys are coming across the stripe now. Skyley, the leader, 30.9 was his best. That last lap of 31.6. Everyone else is running 31.7s and 31.8s throughout this field, all tightly formed, as Weishart's looking to regroup and try to re-enter the top 10.
It's not the race that Connor Horn wanted. He's running lap times that are equivalent to the drivers, actually quicker than most in the top 10 right now. But, oh, big hit for the 31 out of turn 4.
Yeah, big credit for him. That's going to slow him down as he tries to gain that speed back up. Not sure how bad the hit was. Take a look at the replay. Did he hit the inside? It looks like he did. Car walked off the track, and, ooh, yeah, it's a decent hit. Not terrible, but that's only going to kill his momentum. Well, Ryan Hart, see him dropping down the order as well as Michael Curran. Caution out for the first time tonight.
I think it's for the 24, and he's on the grass on the back straightaway. So let's go back and see what happened with the 24, Michael Curran. And I think it was all kind of created by the situation behind the 31, and it bottled up this group, and then here's what happened. Hartz and the 31 just tangled.
I was looking at it from a different angle, a lot of netcode between those two, so I don't think race control is probably going to do a whole lot in the penalty department with that, but take a look from up above. We see the 3 coming up the track, 24 kind of coming down maybe a little bit, but big gap between them, and around goes 24. Not that much damage to him, so he should be able to continue onwards.
My grandparents had Jeff Gordon and Dale Sr. I have Austin. I'm thinking real life. I had Ryan Arts and Michael Curran.
Yeah, Watson Dillon and William Byron.
Yeah, that's the real life duo right there.
Cars on pit lane, and everybody I think will be taking tires. Honestly, 6, 7, 8 tenths of tire fall off is more than I thought we'd see in the opening 30 laps, but it just makes sense because we're not that far away from the pit window opening, and about 110 laps to go this time through. James Skyley is your current leader. Let's see how things shuffle on the pit lane while this is going on. Our replay partner this night.
Oh, Skyley went through the box.
Ooh, how bad will that hurt him?
I think he'll lose a position or 2 at least. He's down on the jack compared to the 1 at least.
He might lose 3.
Or
a lot more than
4.
3.
Wow. Come out P5 behind the 1, the 52, the 11, the 51. Cabot in 6th. Our replay partner tonight is Hendry County Motorsports Park. Racing is back at Henry County Motorsports Park. They just had an event on September 14th, UMP Modified, Street Stocks, Factory Stocks, and more. Of course, their racing is $15 for adults on race night with discounted prices for seniors, teens, and kids ages 5 and under are free. Come see racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, off U.S. Highway 27. Visit henryracing.com for more information.
Unfortunately, their driver is not on the field tonight.
Nope. Might be a replay sponsor, I guess. You always get action with that. And under our first yellow for the night, just 2 cars making contact. That was really what Connor Horn needed to kind of get a race reset for him, so he can now effectively start like he's at the tail of the field. And now he's just got to keep his nose clean and stay out of trouble here, Finian, if he wants to move forward.
Yeah, and I'll tell you who else was also big for is Jake Nichols, because we have not heard anything from the 73 after he had the EOL to the back of the field. He was relegated kind of around 30th, 25th is kind of where he started to stall out. So now he's coming back out on the track, should be restarting 21st on this restart. So another chance for him to reset and try to make another push forward.
He's probably just meditating back there. He's not in the back too often, so he's just soaking it all in and radiating positive vibes nonetheless, no matter what the situation is.
There is an element to taking your time and not forcing things, especially because of how exciting things got in the early stages of this race. It's only going to get more intense from here, though. As Jake Nichols lines up back in 21st, as Finian mentioned. Seth Knoll is elected for the inside lane. Peyton Howell is going to restart alongside him. Good pit stop for the 52, a 13.9 second stop. It was the second fastest of anybody in the top 10. Quickest stop went to James Scioli, funnily enough, but he was 2 seconds slower on the pit lane because of the driver. Green flag back in the air, lap 34 here at Chicagoland Speedway.
For a restart for Peyton Howell in the 52, that's going to cost him 1, 2, maybe 3 spots. We're 3 wide. Ricky Springer in the middle. How about Seth Berger in the 77 making some noise on the bottom? Adam Cabot to the outside.
Cabot going to get the run. About hit the wall, and the 7 of Scioli come up to shut the door there. Meanwhile, Blaze McKinney right behind as well, looking to explore the outside lane again, at least not this time, but in previous times he did, as Robertson's actually doing that, 3 wide through 3 and 4, and one of Knowles still leading at Chicagoland.
As this race goes on, the sends are going to get bigger, the commitment's going to get higher. Blaze McKinney's going to shoot the gap between the 07 and the 7, and Ricky Springer, who dropped to 7th on this stint, is now looking to charge back forward, and for second spot, Howell had a look at Groner on the bottom and now goes to the top.
Yeah, and I think I was going to say he should have a decent run, but he actually got loose. Same thing with the 11. They both got loose in the middle of the corner, pushing really hard, but Howell went out that exchange. Meanwhile, 3 wide here, the 17's in the middle. There's Ed Robinson to the outside, and to the inside, it's Tyler Nichols, 3 wide off into turn 1.
Yeah, they've explored all parts of the racetrack again, as they've had time to regroup and refocus, and Blaze McKinney's taking that talent to the outside of the lane, getting around the 11 of Groner, and he's bringing the 51 of Ricky Springer with him, trying to take over 5th.
Groner way down to the bottom, and the 87 of McKinney way up on top. That 87 car is flying right now, and up to P4. Quick in practice, and he's showing that pace right now. Groner's middle 3 wide. I don't think he wants to be here.
No, he definitely doesn't. It's been a poor restart for the 11. He's been slowly trickling on back.
Trouble. Takes out Jonathan Oates as well. This is to the inside of the racetrack, so no yellow's going to come out because it's below the racing surface.
Oh, that's a mess.
It's going to be a really poor run now for our Jonathan Oates, especially with the caution not coming out. No chance to fix that car. It's still struggling to get it back going in the right direction, but we continue racing on. And to the outside, Adam Cabot trying to race with Blaze McKinney, and McKinney's going to come up, give a little bit of a tap to the 07.
Yeah, wild sequence of events there we'll have to look back at, and he just reacting, getting into the 77, and it just overcorrects, and nowhere for Jonathan Oates to go. Tough end for his run.
I think it was the 33 Hawaii start, was it? I thought it was. He was on board with Ryan Swan here. It's all the chaos, just shoots left. All that aside, we've got a battle for the lead going on, and it's getting pretty interesting with Seth Knoll just ahead of Howell, Cabot, Springer. Look at it. It's like Talladega. We're not even there yet in this season.
Yeah, and everyone's getting practice for it at the moment, it seems. Adam Cabot, decent run off the 52, got a poor run off the corner. Ricky Springer giving him the bump. Trying to get him going forward in the right direction to make a move, but he's kind of stopped between both of these two drivers fighting side by side for position. Another bump from the 51 to the 52. Seth Berger also in line and back inside the top 5, fighting with Blaze McKinney for that spot.
I feel a lot more spaced out now after that altercation between the 11 and the 45 happening in the middle of the pack, and still seeing some cars working that outside lane. Saw the 8 of Matthew Bell, the 64 of Ed Robertson's made it known that that's his use of transportation, at least the lane of transportation. But up front, still some side-by-side battles, but they're all chasing that one of Noel Cabot and Peyton Howell fighting for second.
100 laps to go this time through. 40 down, 100 to go, closing in the 1/3 mark of this race. Jake Nichols has only gone one spot further forward. Connor Horn has only gone a few up to 29th place. It is hard to make moves here. And I think the mobility up front has been a lot more than the mobility out back fitting. I'm not sure why that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure why either is riding on board with the 42 Connor Horn, trying to make his way on forward, slowly but surely. And I think he's kind of picking him up, putting him down where he can. Trying to look at where Jake Nichols is. Nichols hasn't gone anywhere. He's back in 19th. He's only gone +2 since the restart. So again, also for him, I guess picking him up and putting him down where he can.
For the lead, guys, here comes Ricky Springer.
Yeah, Ricky Springer got a fantastic run off for turn 2, was able to take advantage on the back straightaway, and here he comes completing that run on the outside. Off at turn 4, secures it, and Adam Cabot also going to take advantage, try to get to the outside of the 1. Battle for second also brewing as we have a new leader.
Yeah, Ricky Springer is looking to take control of this and set sail. Cabot looking to the outside, trying to clear himself from Nolan. It looks like he will. Peyton Howell in 4th, and Seth Berger running in 5th, still trying to fight off the 87 of Blaze McKinney with a strong run to the inside.
And the 7 of Skyly wants back forward. I think what we're already seeing is that track position is really hard to come by tonight. So maybe you've got to have a tire advantage later. Maybe that's not even worth a whole lot. But some drivers have made big gains like Blaze McKinney, but others really seem to struggle to make passes here with the speeds as high as they are.
It's a matter of really making sure you know how you can set yourself up. You got to set yourself up a half a lap before to get a run off the corner and then execute after you have that run. I think it's the only way you're going to really be able to overcome the, the difference in pace for these drivers in the corners. But looking at Blaze McKinney fighting with side by side with Seth Berger for 5th still. James Scully sitting right in behind him, and the field's still very close together, all within 5 seconds.
Adam Cabot is looking to swap the lead with Ricky Springer, and he's going to do just that. So they'll swap positions for the time being. Springer with a strong run off 2. Might look at a crossover. No, just give him a little bump down the back and into 3. Seth Knowles steered clear for 3rd for the time being.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually that Ricky didn't just try to cross him over. He had enough run. He might have cleared him again by turn 3, but maybe it's big picture for Ricky Springer at the moment. Can't win the race on lap 45. You need to be there at lap 140.
Yeah, I think for Springer, he just wanted to at least maybe get some laps let under his belt, and now he's satisfied with that. So just a matter of just keeping himself up in the fight and staying there for the long game, like you said, thinking long term. But looking further back, Greg Mitchell, Edward Shearer Jr. just exchanged positions. Mitchell up to 2nd, and now starting up to 9th place in the 2 machine. As in behind him is Mason Kane. We saw Kane in the wall earlier, but he's starting to bounce back.
Well, McKinney jumped up there right behind the 77 of Berger, trying to get every bit of draft that he can before heading into turn, but guys starting to space out a little bit more, a lot more single file throughout the straightaways now as we're starting to get deeper into this run. Tires are going to start fading, and moves are going to be made from guys trying to send it deeper, or I should say higher up on the leaderboard, inside the top 10 and even inside the top 5. McKinney's still trying to re-enter the top 5.
Big run out of turn 4 this time. He's going to sweep to the outside of the 77. He will try, and that's what I was worried about. Trouble between him and the 77 of Berger. Berger locks the brakes up in turn 1. He gathers it up in a scary collision at turn 1, but he hangs on to it.
Yeah, and Berger, nowhere for him to go. He got pushed up in the wall by the 52 and then hit from behind by McKinney. Let's take a look here. Clayton Howell way down low, almost in the grass, and then came back up violently, trying to slam the door shut. but Berger was there and almost went around. Did a great job saving.
The lead again.
Whoa.
Here comes Springer.
Sorry, I was looking at a replay by accident. Mason Kane almost got loose after hitting Seth Berger about a half lap before, but they're okay. Meanwhile, for the lead, Springer coming back on the bottom of Adam Cabot, trying to charge. We've seen it's easy to pinch being the outside car, and then he gets that run off the corner. Springer trying to do everything he can, get the side draft going. But here comes Seth Knoll in the mix.
Oh, through the middle. He tried
the middle. That hole wasn't big enough for him, and he's still trying to get low. Springer's not letting him. They're going to be side by side off of 2 for second. Payne Howell in 4th. Meanwhile, out of nowhere, it seems like Garrett Grant's inside the top 5, having a solid day, and Blaze McKinney still knocking on the door, trying to re-enter it.
Garrett Grant started this race 31st place and is now driven into 5th. And he's still gaining. Here he comes. This will be 4th place. That'll give a shot to the 52.
Yeah, really great stuff here. 5 different teams in the top 5 at the moment, all duking it out. And for Garrett Grant, great run for him, and looking like he can keep it going forward. He's got a run to the outside of 51, and we'll get a great run. And Ricky Springer immediately cuts in behind, trying to keep Blaze McKinney at bay.
No one wants McKinney inside that top 5. I mean, he's just trying to get in. And look at this guy, cars back here behind the 13 of Drew Jua and the Ed Robertson machine. We've got multiple 3-wide rows throughout the back half of this field. Connor Horns right in the middle of that. Last time we were here, did not have a good race. Was actually inside the championship hunt and then got taken out in a wreck, not of his own doing. Jeremy Miller back from his suspension, still keeping the 41 at bay. And this is, well, this is right around, what was that, 14th on the racetrack?
For the lead again, here comes the one of Seth Knoll and slides across the nose of Cabot, who gives him a shot on the front stretch.
Big shot from behind. Oh, Mason Kane, I see him dropping down the order slow on the front straightaway. I think had some contact with Ed Robertson.
Yeah, he got into the outside wall again from the looks of things, and Garrett Grant's to the outside of James Skyrel. He threw almost 3 wide down the back stretch. Meanwhile, Payne Howell sends it into 3, looking to take away second from Cabot.
That was a big commitment there for the 52. If Cabot gives him a shove back forward, or if he'll opt to go around him, it will be the former. See if Peyton drops down here into turn 1, or he's going to go the long way around here, Finney. And here comes Peyton Howell for the lead now.
Been trying to look around that outside. Unfortunately, couldn't quite keep the run going. Null gassed it up mid-corner and kept it off with Payne Howell awfully close to the exit wall. Meanwhile, further on behind, Garrett Grant, he's able to get back ahead of James Scully and actually looking to the outside of Blaze McKinney to see if he can get up to 4th place. He's further on behind. Drivers are working their way on through. Justin Bonner actually right there in 14th is slowly making his way back to the front after qualifying in 2nd and just been trying to overcome a drive-through, I believe, on the opening lap.
Creeping towards that longest run of the race, Kyle, almost 30 laps in. They're currently 23 laps in. Again, tire fall off, starting to get around 0.8 of a second, maybe 0.9 or a second for some drivers in the field. So gonna have to monitor that as the guys continue to make moves all throughout the racetrack. Ricky Springer trying to stop the bleeding. Jake Nichols keeps climbing up. He's inside the top 10, looking for 8th from the 51.
Well, he only made it this far last time for a reason. The cars start to drive a little bit bad. You try to shoot gaps you can't make. You need someone to concede, and drivers just aren't going to do that for you. So how much longer will we last here as we approach what should be about, what are we looking at, 90 laps to go, about 80 laps to go next time, in a few laps rather. But they are ticking down and ticking away pretty quickly. Here's Scioli on McKinney for 4th.
Guys working on the bottom, can't quite get a run going at the moment. We'll go all the way down to the grass trying to make a move. And not enough as Garrett Grant comes back on the outside.
Grant looking to re-enter the top 5 as Scioli's looking to prevent that from happening, but he's still looking low and not going to have the run like the outside lane does, so he'll look to slot in behind that 5. Meanwhile, for the lead, Howell starting to get more of a run on that outside lane. Going to try and time it in a little bit lower to get closer to the bumper of Knoll.
Got a nice run coming. He's using 4th gear now. Closing in on the one at the end of the front straightaway, but not close enough to get overlap. He'll go high again. Try to arc it down here on corner exit. Seth Knoll's doing a nice job driving, but he's using more racetrack than Howell is at the moment.
The order that's going to come back to bite them later on in this run, but at the moment they're holding strong and actually building a little bit of a gap to some of the guys in behind. It's the top three slowly breaking away, about 3/4 the gap between Cabot and McKinney. And further on back, they're still doing battle. And actually in behind Ricky Springer, here's a name we haven't really talked about all race, Jake Matheson in 54. He's finally back inside the top 10.
I think his favorite theme of movie was High School Musical because he's soaring, he's flying, he's inside the top 10, he's trying to get around the 51. So is the 73 of Jake Nichols. He's soaring and flying after having to serve that EOL at the beginning of the race. Nearing halfway here, the 73, the 54, the front runners starting to make their way towards the front as the run goes on.
Yeah, the 54 has made really great progress from 39th to 9th. Bit of assistance from that yellow. I'm just shocked at how some drivers have been able to overcome the challenge of passing, and others have just been trapped. I mean, Connor Horn's only up to 21st place. He is making progress back there, but not fast. And it's a long race, so you've got time, but you would have rather had not had that penalty, huh?
Yeah, it was all from an avoidable penalty that if he just was a little bit more back on the start, I think he's trying to see if he can time it, maybe get a better run on the opening lap and get the lead, but fortunately that bit him, and now he's been stuck working through traffic for half this race while everyone else up in the front has been busy racing.
Well, it is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Kind of a 180-mile-an-hour marathon, so you got to take that into consideration. But there's still time for him to regroup and refocus as he's outside the top 20 trying to get in. His teammate Bailey Turner behind as well, looking to get around Ed Robertson there for 22nd, and some checkup there on the inside for Berger.
Yeah, he clipped the apron and it slowed him way up, and he's just going to lose so many spots. This is like when you know that iRacing has nailed the next gen. It's so hard to find an advantage and so easy to give up 3, 4, 5 spots. You're just waiting on a mistake and then everybody pounces at once. It's an intensely frustrating way to drive, but some drivers have adapted to that quite nicely, and one of those seems to be Seth Knoll, who's now extending his lead up to nearly half a second.
Yeah, he's been kind of breaking away. So is Peyton Al, so is Adam Cabot. The top three have all not only broken away a little bit, but also built themselves a bit of a gap here and there.
Oh boy, is that Connor Horn going for a big slide? Did you just see that?
So, not part of it.
Wow.
Whoa. A teammate.
Oh, it's his teammate, yeah.
Don't want to be doing that now.
That was dicey.
Definitely a bit of a scare there, I imagine. As Ryan Arts is working his way back up through the order.
Things have started to calm down a bit, and looking at the lap times the last time through, 31.54 for Knoll, 31.64 for Peyton Howell, then everyone else is running 31.7s or 31.8s. So even after 30 laps on this run, Kyle, Seth Knoll's still putting down fast times. In fact, even faster times than when he was bunched up in this field. But now things are starting to spread out. He's starting to take control.
Derek Grant up to 4th, past Cabot. He's got Skyley hot on his heels here. And Skyley's going to drop to the bottom of the pink solar flare car. It was solar flare domination early in this race, and you let the filter long enough, and you might just see the same thing here. But this time with consideration of Jake Nichols up to 7th place after he started in 9th, but had to go to the tail. P35 for the 73, and he's back up inside the top 10.
Got a solid climb back forward, still not done yet. Blaze McKinney putting on some massive blocks on the 73, trying to hold him up, but finally gives way to him on the top side. And Nichols, I imagine he should be able to make this work, is forcing McKinney down to kill his run in the middle of the corner. And on the exit, he'll get it up to 6th, then he gets a bump from behind from Jake Matheson. Oh, and Matheson just cuts across the 87 as well.
Wow. Well, you could call these two the Flying Jays because they're working their way almost seems like together. They've been with each other for a long bit of the way as they're inside the top 10. Looking to enter the top 5 for the first time tonight as Grant and Skyley, 4th and 5th, are going to swap places on the track. And Matheson looks to the inside of Nichols down the back.
A little battle there between the Jake and Jake show. Typically it's for the top spot. Tonight it's for 6th and 7th. as they both march their way forward on the approach to halfway here in this race. Only one yellow so far. It's been a pretty interesting event so far. We've had 6 unique leaders, Finian.
Yeah, a bit of a tap between McKinney and Matheson as they're heading down the front straightaway. All resolved for now, though, as McKinney will have to yield that spot and not be able to make a move on Matheson, who was slotted behind the 73 as they go single file. As McKinney was thinking about it, you saw him thinking about making a move, but thought better of it, didn't feel like he can make it stick.
Yeah, you saw how aggressive the bumps were from Matheson to Nichols. One bad move there, and the front bumper and the rear bumper could touch at the wrong angle, and that could spark disaster. Meanwhile, there's the 8 of Matthew Bell. This is just outside the top 10. He's got Nick Silver in front of him, running in that 10th spot, and then to his inside, Justin Bondurant in the 9. So he qualified up in second, Kyle. Had to serve a pass-through. I don't believe it was a pass-through. I think it was an EOL. Nonetheless, he's had to work his way from the back to the front as well, and he's on the door of entering the top 10.
Yeah, the guys that have been quick here at Chicagoland are not to be denied, are they? They've managed to find their way forward. Now, however slowly it has been, and there's still a lot of racing left. Next time by, 70 laps complete, 70 laps to go. So we're thinking about maybe our final pit stop here, Finian. We're 38 laps into the run. When do you want to try to make that stop? It's going to be a little bit longer, I would assume, to try to split this in half.
Yeah, I think these guys mean ideally if they can stretch it up to 55 laps, it cuts the run in half. As Bondurant makes some contact with Matthew Bell there. That was a hard stopper. Oh, and throws a block on the 2 of Greg Mitchell as well. That's getting dicey here in the midfield. Reece Schaefer trying to work his way in through in the 97 to the inside.
Yeah, he almost got split through the middle there, so he had to shut the door on someone, and that someone was Greg Mitchell. Matthew Bell just shut the door on Nick Silver. Meanwhile, for the lead, Peyton Howell has reeled in the 1 of Seth Knoll.
He has. Last couple of laps, Peyton's found a couple tenths here and there. And after the halfway point, this 52 is looking really good on the long run here in comparison to Seth Knoll, which tells you that Florida State Builders car is very, very strong. And it continues. I mean, these two have just found their own little segment of unincorporated Illinois to set up shop, haven't they? 1.7 seconds clear of Adam Cabot.
Yeah, really solid job. You forget how really Peyton Howell can really turn up the wick if he needs to. He's been stupidly consistent this season. Lowest finish across all 9 races that run so far is 15th. Otherwise, he's been inside the top 10, and if not inside the top 5 a couple of times. Here he is battling potentially win number 2. Trying to beat Seth Knoll, however, that is 4 wins this season.
Yeah, he's looking to snatch another one, saying, hey, you got 4, leave some to the rest of us. I want more than 1, so he's trying to put up a fight there, but they got a big gap, 1.6 seconds between themselves and Cabot. Matheson and Scioli swapping 4th. Here comes Jake Nichols in the 73. He wants to enter the top 5. Got Garrett Grant still running solid in 7th. And then from Blaze McKinney on back, it's still tight pack racing, side-by-side action behind him.
It's just amazing how tight this field has been tonight. The 8 slow.
Yeah.
He just tucks in. I don't know if he got in the wall or what, but
he did. He had a little bit of help. He had some contact, I should say, not necessarily some help. Made some contact with 51, Ricky Springer right there. I think was trying to come down to clear, and then a solid hit to the wall, and that killed all of his run.
I'll say. Good thing these cars are durable. The 2 almost just tested how durable Connor Horn's car was. That was real tight.
Connor's going to get a little bit more aggressive here. I think as the field thins out, and he can start to make a little bit more progress now that everyone's fighting slightly less. That being said, 3 wide directly ahead of him as Nick Silver, Edward Shearer Jr., and Drew Jua, I believe. No, not Drew Jua. Reece Schaefer on the bottom trying to make some moves. And more moves. Edward Shearer Jr. throws it to the inside.
Yeah, the eye of the storm is right in front of the 42. We're getting a good look at it from his onboard. You can see him communicating, pressing buttons on the keyboard and the mouse and scratching his hair. He's got a lot going on inside that room and still working his way towards the top 15. Hasn't quite entered the top 10 yet, but he's right in the thick of it, Kyle.
Love the focus lip bite that we always see on Connor Horn as he's in the thick of it right now. As you said, the eye of the storm. He's like taking that little biplane right into the midst of the chaos, the swirling winds of Chicagoland Speedway. It is the Windy City, Chicago, after all, which I guess is not for literal wind, but because all the politicians are full of hot air, is what I've heard.
I was going to say the wind actually right now is very low. It's only 5 to 6 miles an hour.
It
so
is.
It's not that particularly windy.
It is a particularly windy city, though, just like standalone. I just don't think that's where the name comes from.
Yeah.
I've seen a tornado at Audubon Country Club right down the road from this track, so.
Really?
Yeah. Well, this is really sketchy. No way, boys. How is that going to play out?
We shall see, as they look like they're pacing. Essentially, look at that perfect rows of 2 across the front straightaway. Connor Krasik up there trying to fight with Ricky Springer. Springer looks like he might be dropping back a little bit. He might have burned up his stuff a little bit too much. As Krasik will try to clear ahead of him and will just slide in front. He will clear.
And then we got the formation building up on the outside. Bondurant with a shove to Cameron Hearn, entering the corner. Going to get him sideways and into the middle groove. Going to be tight on corner exit, and Hearn, well, I thought it was going to be in the middle of 3 wide, but he's going to give a little nudge to the 9. Didn't appreciate that. They're going to continue to touch down the front stretch and into 1.
This is dicey. I don't like this mid-pack. We're closing in on 60 laps to go, so everyone's thinking about their final pit stop here. Thinking about grabbing any positions they can. The aggression level is up, if it wasn't already. The intensity of these races at Chicagoland has been just unbelievable.
Whoa.
This is very dicey.
Yeah, Hearn is getting feisty with the 9. Yeah, they almost created a big wreck, and again, Connor Horn right behind it. Doesn't want to be a part of this. This is exactly what happened in Season 5, and he was contending for a championship in Season 5, but just got caught up, wrong place at the wrong time, and it looks like it's simmered down for the time being.
Calm before the storm, potentially.
Oh, man.
As Horn aggressively slots his place in line. Still massive checkups on that outside lane in behind Nick Silver, Bondurant, and Cameron Hearn. Bit of a freight train there, and now here comes the 71 of Newbigin to the outside of Everett Scherr Jr. and Ray Schaefer down the front straightaway. Drag race for them. Everett Scherr Jr. is going to throw it hard into turn 1. Newbigin trying to keep it going back on the outside. Cameron Hearn up ahead on the inside of Bondurant. They are racing hard here in the midfield.
Look at how way the track's rubbered in 3 and 4. That dark rubber patch on the very inside, and then it's just equally spread from there on out. Look at how much racetrack they're using. Look at Newbigin on the outside lane.
Oh, Bondurant gets hit from behind. I'm not sure if he was coming down to pit lane. It looked like he slowed up mid-corner, and Cameron Hearn was not expecting it.
Or it's just a coincidence that these two have made contact with each other again within the last 10 laps or so. Not sure how that occurred. I don't know if we can get a look at that, Kyle.
Sure can.
Very interesting that those two collided again.
It's going down the back straightaway between the 9 and the 4. Big commitments here. Then the 9 just drives in hard to the bottom, and he has to check up in a big way. I think because he knew if he didn't check up, he was going to wash up the hill there. So I don't think the 4 really could do much. Kenny and Krasik for 8th. That's very tight between those two. And here's Jua in the 13 and the 99 trying to take advantage of it.
Try to take advantage, go to the inside, a bump from the 13 to the 99, trying to push him on forward and make a move. And Justin Bondurant is coming down to pit lane this time by. Might be a little bit early. I think they need to go about 5 to 8 more laps, but he'll come in early, and we'll see if that'll trickle down more and more drivers.
Yeah, very tricky pit road, Kyle. I don't know if we talked about it in the pre-race or not, but 18 degrees of banking through these corners, and especially with the way they're running 180 mile an hour in this somewhat Talladega-like pack racing that we got. Very tough for guys to slow down and get onto the apron and make it the pit speed.
Well, we did talk about it. It is one of the more challenging racetracks. Not the most challenging. I think Darlington and Dover. Oh, the 13's out of control.
Yeah, 87 of McKinney. Wow! McKinney bounced off the wall and into the 13. Jua had nowhere to go, but excellent car control from the 13.
Has done a great job tonight with that. I'm afraid to look away for a moment, but here's what happened. Oh, the 87 was already in the wall, and he just kind of washed up into him. That was a big moment.
They did on the Geico sign as well. Fantastic job for him. More and more drivers coming down. There's Peyton Howell and Adam Cabot, one of the first of the front runners to come on down to pit lane. I think that's really going to start to open up the door.
Yeah, we're at 54 laps down this current run, so some guys feeling like now is the time. I mean, we're basically halfway through with this run and halfway through with the laps left in the race, about 54 to go. So, perfect time to come down pit road, split it in half.
I think so. I think that's the move. I would also like to get out of this chaos a little bit, just run some clean, fast laps. I was at the 51 of Ricky Springer. Indeed it is, so he peels off as well. If you're Knoll, if you're Matheson, when do you peel off? Do you stay on the racetrack longer? Do you think tires are worth anything, Finian? Right now, the fall-off's about 1 second and 2/10. I don't want to stay out here all that long. I don't think tires will do you a lot of good at the end of this race.
I know we keep saying that, but we see time and time again, usually the drivers that do the overcut can benefit quite a bit. So I think we might see them try to push maybe a couple laps longer, maybe another 5, maybe 10, but that's probably it, because you have to remember there's that point of no return where you really just go too far and you can't make it up. As Connor Horn almost got his Evershed Jr. got turned around.
They're still not out of it yet, but that was nearly the point of no return there for Horn. He bounced off the wall. Was lucky he didn't come across the 17 of Shearer Jr., but now he's stuck in this 3-wide pickle with the 13 of Jua to the inside. Horn going to get the runoff and stay alive for the time being. His teammate Bailey Turner, not so much. And the 41 of Tyler Nichols as well, stuck behind the 13 and the 17.
Everyone's just driving angry today, but they've somehow managed to keep it all straight. The 99 peeled off really late to pit lane. He got it woed down. The 14 slides into his box. And I think we saw another car back there. We got Emerson Arden on pit lane. Seth Berger. Blaze McKinney is back onto the racetrack now. And about half the field, about 40% of the field, I think, has made their pit stop. And here comes Seth Knoll, Finian.
On he goes down. I see him behind him. I think is that Jake Matheson and Dean Matheson on down as well. Nichols will continue onwards. James Scully on down as well. So a couple drivers on down. More drivers coming into the pits, but the leaders still, a couple of them staying out.
Yeah, Jake Nichols, again, that lap led. Big for him. Meanwhile, here's a 87 Blaze McKinney mixing in with the 13, the 17, the 41. Actually, no, that's Connor Horn. My apologies. Green cars are very similar, especially with white on them. But he has rallied up to second through the cycle and should be making this pit stop relatively soon. But for the time being, he's inside the top 5. And if a caution comes out, could benefit him very nicely.
Jake Nichols is on pit lane. Landon Cardullo, Brian Hartz, they're all on pit lane. There's a big send from Drew Jua on the bottom of the racetrack. Things are cooling off in the air as well. I mean, 84 degrees, but the sun is getting lower in the sky, so the grip level might just come up a bit, and it's rubbered in now, too. I mean, look at how black this track has gotten. It is eating chunks out of these Goodyears.
Really, especially with the way everyone's glued to that inside line as the leaders continue another circuit around. No, not a whole lot of drivers coming on down, at least near the front of the order. Justin Bondurant working on through with the fresher tires. Make way for him. Same thing with 70 of Haynes. We're looking at the difference in the tire life there.
Jake Nichols drifting out of pit lane. He had that thing in a slide.
Yeah, didn't want to drift too soon into this pack of cars here, but for the time being, this is for the lead for the time being. The 13 leading. I think Connor Horn's going to be making his pit stop now. Got to get it woed down and don't want to slide too much in your pit box.
Nice entry there for the 42. And have a look on the left-hand side of your screen here of those that have pit and those that have not pit. Anyone with more than 10 has yet to make their final stop.
Yeah, as the lead cycles out, it's Hayden Howell ahead of Adam Cabot, Seth Knoll, Matheson, Scioli, the top 5 of the drivers that pit. Drew Jua will not pit this time by again.
There's that 52.
Yep.
And then you see on the left, the top 6 have yet to pit. That's how many laps they've had since their last pit stop. A lot of 7s and below on the board, and some 60 plus still inside the top 6.
Yeah, and if you look at, sorry, Finian, if you look at the gaps that Howell's got, he's got a half a second to Cabot, about another second or so, 1.8 from Cabot back to Seth Knoll. So things are going well for the 52, but there's a lot of racing left. 46 laps worth. That is a long time to hold out on older tires.
And actually also for Connor Horn, I'm wondering if he may have come in a little bit too late. Look at where Connor Horn is on the racetrack and look at where Peyton Howell is on the racetrack. So there's Peyton Howell coming to the start-finish line right now, and if you cut to Connor Horn, he is just exiting turn 2 on the middle of the back straightaway. So big amount of time for Connor Horn to make up.
Got a little bit fresher tires though, so that should benefit him somewhat. Meanwhile, focusing back on the 4 of Cameron Hearn, he's had a fair share of run-ins, but still a 13 for the time being. The 5 of Garrick Rand having a solid day as well, and just in front of him is the 9 of Justin Bondurant, who's had an up-and-down day, qualified on the front row, had an EOL that he had to serve, was mixing it up with Cameron Hearn as Grant bounces off the wall, and those two are only separated by 1 car, and that is the 5 that just bounced off the wall.
Whoa! Whoa, that is definitely a black flag. Yep, it is.
Oh, man, Drew Jua will have to serve a penalty for speeding on the pit lane. Brett Pancari is the last holdout up at the front on 64-lap-old tires.
I'm generally amazed that Drew actually even made the cone the way he came flying in there. Wasn't going to make it on the speed, but at least made the cone. But Brett Pancari, as you mentioned, one of the last holdouts. Hoping for a caution, hoping for something to happen. Imagine his tires are going to start going because he looks like he's struggling there mid-corner.
I wanted to mention it in qualifying too, but look at the steering wheel that he's got, and the force feedback as well, and just how much he has to turn in. I mean, look at this right here. This is 65 laps on this run, and you can just see how hard he's turning and how much feedback the steering wheel has. And, well, had a moment there. He's trying to get his pit cycle sorted out.
Got to get it sorted now because we're closing in the final 40 laps, last 20 minutes of racing here. And everybody has now made their final pit stop in theory. If we get a yellow flag with maybe 10, 15 laps, you would consider coming down pit road.
Adam Cabot, Seth Knoll about to do battle here. Knoll, a great run on the back straightaway, going to throw it to the inside in turn 3. And Cabot, I don't think a whole lot to really defend. Got the 4 laps older tires, so the advantage to Seth Knoll as he makes the spot. Now one more driver for him between himself and victory, and that's Peyton Howell up the road.
Of course, I didn't pick the 1 car tonight.
Yeah, didn't we talk about this last week? Well, I think I talked about with Sky.
Who'd you pick again?
The 52, but I think I might be on the losing end of this battle.
I mean, you're still looking at either finish first or second, unless there's a caution.
I could use a yellow. Let's give it some time, though, because right now we're
want a yellow, though? I don't
you
think
can't,
you want a yellow.
Not right now.
You can't add to the script. The script's already made. You can't make adjustments to it.
I can edit it. It's a Google sheet that we all share, so.
Oh, you wouldn't.
I would. Peyton Howell, 1.6 seconds is the differential. Last time by, Noel, although he was passing the 0.7, was only 400ths quicker.
Well, hey guys, don't look now, but the 9 and the 4 are about a 10th separated from each other, and I think they're duking it out, and and Jake Nichols right in the middle of this.
His whole gaggle of cars actually duking out for position here. Working themselves amongst some drivers that came in a little bit earlier. Justin Bondurant's up in 7th still, though. Trying to defend everything he can with everything he's got. They're being flanked by Jake Nichols and Cameron Hearn.
He's keeping everything at bay for now. 7th, 8th, and 9th. And Nichols looking to turn that 8 into a 7 as he's trying to complete the pass here, and he'll do just that. So now the 9 and the 4 can bond a little together in the last 40 laps of this race.
And speaking of the 4, I actually want to just point out for Cameron Hearn, I'm just kind of hoping things go well for him at this point. He's had a horrible luck this season. Highest finish of the season for him is 31st across the 7 races he started, so he's looking fantastic. If he can finish this out, he'll get a top 10.
Guys, ever since we were talked about Seth Knoll making a pass on Adam Cabot, Peyton Howell was quicker the last 3 laps. Okay, all right, 3 of the last 4 laps. Knoll picked up a 10th that time. But it's pretty even between these two. Remember, Peyton Howell tracked down the 1 before, so I wouldn't doubt his long-run pace in this, even with a 4-lap tire disadvantage.
I think he's just hoping to keep that gap as big as he can, especially to avoid any chance of him getting some sort of slipstream to catch back up. So if he push now, it'll help him a little bit later on. So it's going to kind of keep his head down, look forward. He's got clean track to work with for the most part, a couple stragglers up ahead, but mostly clean racetrack, and just get his head down and put some competitive times over that time by. Another 10th went to Seth Knoll.
almost 2/10 that time by. And holy Toledo, we got cars on the apron, in the middle, all the way on the outside of the front stretch, not just a trial. It's one long front stretch that curves, and the 87 of McKinney going to shut the door on Ricky Springer there. That's for the 11th spot. Just in front of him is 10th place Connor O'Kresick.
Holy Toledo, that's not the correct sad Midwestern town that we're in today. We're in Joliet.
holy Joliet, Batman.
35 laps to go the next time by, and the battles continue, though much more spread out, which means I think the opportunities for yellows dwindle just a little bit. But with how fierce we've seen things go, and with drivers unwilling to concede on this last run, knowing every position counts, I imagine that we still have the potential to get one more caution flag. Stats tell us, though, Hunter, that that's unlikely.
Yeah, the average for last yellow is around 93 to go. Last year was 74 to go, and our only caution of the race, I believe, was around 110 to go, around lap 30. Yeah, so a long time since we've had a caution. It would definitely shake things up if we did have one, but judging from my script, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, and it actually looks like everyone's just kind of formed into small little packs of about 4 or 5 drivers each, so that's kind of what the field is looking like, all spread out throughout the lap with everyone in slightly different strategies of when they came into pit. Peyton Howell still 1.1 seconds over Seth Noel. That gap is closing, though. A couple of tenths, a couple of hundreds here and there. Adam Cabot also in short pursuit in third. Jake Matheson up in fourth. James Kelly rounding in the top 5.
We're in lap click-off mode right now, but Seth Noel continues to take chunks out of Peyton Howell's advantage. It's down to about a second flat this time. And it's pretty consistently a 10th here and a 10th there, but as he gets closer, Finian, Seth is going to run into that aero wash. He'll also have the advantage of the slipstream, though, so that'll kind of net out to 0.
Yeah, we shall see. Haven't seen a whole lot of one-on-one car duels, especially in some clean air. A little bit towards the end of the last one where we saw Peyton Howell get up to the one of Seth Noel, so he was able to overcome the dirty air. But as the gap shrinks more and more dramatically and the one enters the slipstream range, that gap's going to contract quite a bit here. They're just over 30 laps to go, and I'm sure for Peyton Howell, he would love for this race to end sooner.
Or for a caution to come out so he can put on some fresh tires. Well, these two are playing nice.
For now.
Yeah.
Ford versus Chevy. It's a classic battle here on the backstretch at Chicagoland.
Whoa. Cameron got very close to the quarter panel in the 9, almost turned him into turn 3, so they're playing nice but barely as they exit out of turn 4. There's a battle for 8th place between both of these drivers.
There's some contact.
Oh, man.
Hey, guys, Peyton Howell lost a bunch of time. It's only 2/10 now. It's like a switch flipped on the 52.
Yeah, poor last lap for him and a great last lap for Seth Noel as he caught the slipstream. Now here we go on the front straightaway. Race is on with just about 30 laps to go. This time by Seth Noel, now he mentioned that dirty air he's got to overcome. Peyton Howell is trying to make that car as wide as possible and take away the high lane, but Seth Noel, a little bit of an over-under, gets the run off the corner and will use the side draft to make a move into turn 3.
And he'll complete the pass heading into 3 for the time being, send it deep in there, and Peyton Howell going to try and cross over, but to no avail. As Adam Cabot in the 07 was sort of making up a little bit of ground to this with less than 30 to go, though. A new leader, the one of Noel, looking for his 5th win on the season.
Yeah, Noel's just had an unbelievable season, hasn't he? 4 wins so far. Jake Nichols has 2. Peyton Howell has 1. Cabot, Matheson, and Oates each have 1. And then Kwame Scott. Oh, sorry, that was a pole. That was it as far as race wins. But Peyton Howell, again, he found some speed late in the run last time, but that was when he had equal tires. Again, 4 laps of difference is just enough to take away that opportunity. And he's got lap traffic to 13 of Drew Jua driving back by. That's going to cause a momentary disturbance in the force there for the 52.
Yeah, not only needs disturbance that he could probably do without, the 13 mixing of things, but Andrew Drew trying to make up for that black flag for speeding on pit lane entrance. But able to get through the 52 and trying to work on the 1 right now. And I think Seth Knowles is going to let him on by and not try to hold him up more because they're going to slow himself down.
He's going to run the outside lane. Meanwhile, a little further back here, Connor Horn still right around 20th. He's 21st on the racetrack. Just really hasn't been the night for him.
Yeah, this is so frustrating because all this came down to one error he made on the opening lap, jumping the start. He led a lap, had to serve a drive-through penalty, and since then has really been unable to advance much further forward than about 18th place. And he's stuck in 21st now, and he's got some of the freshest tires of anybody, but the lap time difference is not hugely significant. A 10th here, a 10th there. It's going to be a tough race for Connor Horn in a place that should have been really good for him based on his qualifying time.
Yeah, the early start really hurt him, but I also think that pit strategy where he just waited, I think, maybe a little bit too long to come down and get some tires because he lost a lot of track position with that move by staying out as long as he did. So I think that's also not helping him. But looking back up to Cameron Hearn in the number 4 place, McKinney up ahead of him. Battle for 9th between both of them. Cameron Hearn gets a run on heading onto the front straightaway to turn 1.
Good battles all throughout, even 8 seconds behind the leader, Seth Knowles, still 8/10 over Peyton Howell. Bondurant to the outside, looking to keep the 51 of Ricky Springer at bay. That's just outside the top 10. Nick Silver, Michael Curran, he had that spin earlier, Kyle. That was the only yellow of the race, and he's rallied nicely. He's just a new boot goofing.
I'd say he's rallied pretty nice, right? Back up to 13th place. I think if he could nab a top 10 out of this somehow, he'd be in good shape. But he did pit pretty early relative to the drivers around him there, so I would expect him either to stay where he's at or fall back a position or 3. But it's been an okay night, all things considered, as he's got the 99 and the 9 right alongside him there.
Ooh. And Nick Silver trying to make some moves, trying to cut in between Curran and Springer, making moves to the inside, had to delay that a little bit as the move wasn't quite present. Curran trying to get out of the corner. Bondurant and Springer making contact off of turn 4 as they head down the front straightaway. So a lot of argy-bargy between a lot of the drivers throughout the field.
That's a good bit, and Curran is right in on this. He doesn't want to get caught up in any tomfoolery whatsoever. Wants a solid, clean car, and they're really not getting clean up there, and Curran's going to give a bump to Silver into 3.
Down into turns 3 and 4. Next time by will be 21 laps to go. We're really wrapping this thing up here pretty shortly. The next 12 minutes. Seth Knoll leads with a commanding 1.4 second advantage. And things are looking like they're going to fall right into his lap in these closing stages if we don't get a yellow flag, which these guys seem bound determined to make happen here, Finian.
Yeah, they're fighting really, really hard here for this 11th place spot. Nick Silver, the slide job for him in front of Ricky Springer. Michael Curran going to do a dive and try to make something happen in 3 and 4. Will be side by side with the 99. They both dispatched the 51 of Springer, who now has to actually, he's trying to get a run back. Looks back to the outside of the 24.
Yeah, he is still trying to get around this gaggle of cars and can't really make enough room to the inside. Can't squeeze up either. Springer getting up near the wall. Going to have a nice run on corner exit. Actually, Curran will squeeze, but Springer's tapping that wall into 3.
I got pretty tight there. Nick Silver, Michael Curran on the outside, the 51 on the bottom there. And things are going to tighten up here for second place as well. Adam Cabot and Jake Matheson are in tow, and they've got plenty of time to make an attack here. Cabot's got the same tires that Howell does, and Matheson's got the same tires that Knoll does. Here comes the 54 on the look, and Cabot turned in early to try to defend.
Yeah, he knows that he's got to start making more and more of a defense. That being said, will he be able to last 20 laps? It's going to be tough to tell, depending on what Matheson's got in store. And he also can't count on James Scully. He's going to be closing up on this little trio battle up here near the front. Matheson going to try to look low as Cabot looks to the inside of Peyton now. I don't think it's going to work for him. He's going to get really tight off the corner. Howell's got the run, but actually not that great of one as Cabot uses the side draft to draft down into turn 3.
Well, the more the merrier for Seth Knoll. The more these guys battle, the merrier it is for him. He gets to increase that lead from 2 seconds on. Matheson going to increase the pressure for this battle as well. Going to dive to the apron, 3 wide, heading into turn 1 for second.
And Matheson's going to get 2 for 1. Power move for the 54, and he drives into second place. He's running about equal times to Seth Knoll, and you just wonder for the 52, and he pitted a little later and been on kind of equal strategy. We saw him outpace the one earlier, and he put himself at a disadvantage for the tail end of this race, Finian. You have to wonder if he would undo that call now.
Yeah, well, he's still running pretty well, so I don't think he'll be too disappointed with that. He does have also a win to lock himself in, so he is secure, but he's still trying to get as best of a spot as he can as he's fighting with Cabot side by side now as Matheson's gotten past both of them. But even then, it looks like Cabot's going to throw it in the corner, slide job off the track, over-under for the 52. He goes to the inside.
This is the battle for who wants to talk with Kyle and Finian after the race, and they're really showing it out, training paint down the back. Here comes James Scioli, about to make it a 3-car battle for third.
Yeah, they're about to tangle these two. They've been leaning on each other now. The 07 wants to go by. The 52 wants to hold the spot. More contact. Here comes Scioli, going to split the difference right between the two sparring drivers, 3 abreast into turn 1.
He's like, well, if you guys want to take away third place, I'll take it myself. He's not quite able to get the move done. Cabot gets that run out the corner, but it's in the wall. He makes contact with the 7, and they both slow down.
Wow.
That was a wreck that did not happen.
I'll say. That was about as close to crashing as you're going to get at Chicagoland Speedway.
Yeah, you see Cabot just trying to force the car to rotate more than it can, gets up in the wall, and then that bump into the 7, that could have been disastrous.
He was already correcting the steering. If he hadn't been ahead of it, I think they would have crashed there. Back to 9th place, McKinney, Hearn, Curhan, Nick Silver, Bondurant, Springer. This is going to be a really interesting scrum here in the next few laps because everybody here is on similar tire strategy within 3 or 4 laps of each other, and it's going to be an all-out bare-knuckle brawl here for the last 14 revolutions.
Yeah, it's also quite a few aggressive drivers in this pack as well, so that's why I think things can go awry potentially here as they're all fighting still nose to tail, quarter panel to quarter panel here. At the moment, it is Bondurant, sorry, not Bondurant, it is McKinney leading this group, then Curran, Silver, Cameron, Hearn. And Curran trying to get to the inside of Blaze McKinney, and behind Cameron Hearn trying to fight with Nick Silver side by side off turn 2. Looks like McKinney's going to win out of this exchange. Hearn and Silver is still side by side.
Curran's going to send it deeper into 3 this time. Going to try and get alongside the 87s, have an opportunity to side draft down the front stretch, and really it comes from the last lap where he had a strong run off of 4. McKinney went to block, and then that's kind of what led to this side-by-side battle for 9th, heading into 1. And yeah, Nick Silver trying to keep everyone at bay. Curran going to slide up and complete the pass on McKinney.
Up into 9th. What a recovery from the spin earlier out of turn 2. It's the only incident we've had today that is... Actually, that one did cause a yellow? That was the yellow. It did not.
Oh.
Blaze McKinney just dropped out of the scoring.
Oh, yeah, his quality has gone down. I think that might be it for him.
Oh, that is brutal after the night he's had.
Oh, man. He's back. And he's in Nick Silver.
Oh, well, that is not wise.
That would make a certain Instagram account. Wow, that was dicey. That's jamming too many pickles into the jar there, isn't it? Holy cow.
And it gets really tight. It gets even more crazy because when a car comes back from netcode or dropping, they usually have a lot of netcode around them. So, and they were fighting quarter panel to quarter panel there. That could have been disastrous. But McKinney's back somehow from the dead. And here he'll go back with a fight, a shove to the 51 of Springer, and now looks to the outside.
He's trying to make sure his ones are still good, and he's still rolling on that outside lane. Top 10 still within reach for the 87, even after that little tomfoolery that we had through a good part of the last couple of laps. Bondurant, though, going to look to the outside of Hearn once more.
Oh, the 4 and the 9, they have just been beaten and banging tonight. 10 laps to go for this crew, all battling for the tail end of the top 10. Clock is ticking.
Look at Greg Mitchell. He's joined the fray. He's looking to the outside. There's nowhere for him to go, though, as he's got the 9 and the 4 side by side. Almost thought about making it 3 wide looking to the inside, but he knew that would have been a losing battle.
Yeah, while all this is going on, Landon Cardillo's joined the fray. He also had a fast car in practice, but believe he was the one that had to serve a pass-through at the beginning of the race, so really just a tough grind for the 19 all race long, and he's in the thick of it with 9 to go.
And while this is going on, a bit of a battle for second is brewing here. Matheson, Cabot, and Scioli are condensing. It's closing very slowly, but as the laps click away, it's still possible. I think this is the most exciting battle on the racetrack, though, so we'll return you to it. Springer and Bondurant.
Connor Horn's closing in on this pack as well. He's just out of frame right there. He might have a shot at getting a couple of spots because he's got the freshest tires out of anyone in this pack, so he might have something here near the end.
Yeah, he might. Nick Silver still holds that 10th spot, but McKinney trying to get underneath of him the side draft and get closer towards it. But yeah, if there's going to be a bump from Springer to the 87, there's going to be a yellow, Kyle. It's going to come from within this group.
Yeah, we're down. We're wearing tires out more than we had the last run. Times are in the high 31s. A little bit of contact.
Springer.
Message sent, message received.
Maybe hate for now. I thought I was going to end up a lot worse into turn 1, but so far so good. Here comes Springer, slide job in front of the 87. He has to back out and accept the 51 ahead of him.
Morse code at 180 miles an hour. Crash.
I was going to say the paper is about to be ripped up and burnt in a second here with the way they're fighting. Big block from Springer on the 2 and on the McKinney off to hold up his run out of turn 4.
Oh my gosh.
Reese Schaefer had a move to the outside where Cardolo's behind him. It was Bondurant who threw the block, but to no avail. So Schaefer going to have a strong run to the outside. Greg Mitchell trying to complete a pass on Ricky Springer. Not going to be much. Blaze McKinney thinking about working with the 51. He will. It's going to give him a shot in the 3. Oh, he's turning sideways. Holy cow, what a save from Springer.
And the 9 and the 4 are leaning on each other again in the background here. This is getting elbows out, hip and shoulder, banging fenders again. Or the 51 and 87. There goes the 9 across the racetrack. And the caution is out with 5 laps to go.
Look out, Hartz.
Oh, and Ryan Hartz into him.
Well, it happened within that group, but it was the unlikeliest of duos that...
Yeah, I heard you guys screaming. I'm like, what? They're still going straight? Because I didn't realize they were wrecking behind.
3 of Ryan Hartz has his nose punched in. Justin Bondurant goes for a ride. Here's what's happened. Contact off the 19, spears him across the 4. At this point, he's just kind of along for the ride, and 3 had nowhere to go.
I think he was hoping the 9 would lock it down, stay high, but unfortunately slid down low.
All right, guys. Pit or not to pit? To pit.
Well,
wow.
I think everyone realizes the tire. Because the thing we didn't really note, too, is that when drivers came down for their pit stop halfway through the run, they all came in for tires. Not a single one took 2. And I think they know that the way the tires are wearing out, it's worth it. And they want that extra grip here in these closing laps. Although, actually, now I feel like we might see someone take 2.
I would say taking 2 would be the best opportunity because you're only going to have 2 laps, and at most it's going to be 3 attempts.
No,
so
we've had a lot of 2 tires here, lots of 2. I think everybody took 2.
And when and when everyone takes 2, nobody takes 2.
Yeah, now they're just all going to drive half bad, right? Wow. And you know what's crazy? We've got 3 drivers out of this race. Mason Kane, Philip Groner, Jonathan Oates. Everybody else is on the lead lap. So 37 cars of the 40 that we started with. And it will be a green-white checkered, I believe. So it will be the first attempt. Maybe
Blaze
not.
McKinney just got a unsafe pit road exit. And I think they're trying to review it. Oh, and I think he might have had an internet disconnect, and I think the sim did not like that because I was just checking. He was on the apron the entire time, but when he left off, when it went out of pit lane, he flipped. Yeah, Adam's saying he can hold his position.
Got lucky there.
Benefits of having a live admin.
Yep. We're going to be in overtime now. So this will be the first of our 3 attempts. And we've only had 2 yellows today, guys, but when you pack up everybody and you give them a chance, dangle that carrot, I wouldn't put it past us to utilize these green-white checkered attempts. What's your thoughts? Nobody?
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know. If
Well,
anyone's
never
gonna
mind.
go.
Let's take this opportunity to do some
admins.
ad reads here in the moment. As we're going to add some life to your party this summer with Elite Entertainment. Located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina, Elite Entertainment provides high-quality band production and entertain at any location, including karaoke, singo, and more. Visit Linktree/Elite Entertainment LLC for all contact info. And High Banks Podcast, just 2 blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Listen to episode 205 with Brad Slaughter. New episode with Jacob Bell out now, available on Spotify. And, of course, Rick's Hot Sauce. Guys, it has been a spicy race tonight. Maybe no spicier, though, than rickshotsauce.com. Head over to rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver takes home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. Okay, now that I've got your attention, Finian, do we get this done in 1 attempt, or will we take more?
Oh, I'm feeling 2 attempts. I think that's what I'm going to go with.
Hunter?
I think we're 1 and done, and the bet has been made for a lot of these guys, or most of these guys that took 2 tires. The one going to fight for his 5th win of the season, hard to fathom, and the 52 Peyton Howell going to fight for his 2nd win on the season, but don't count out the 7 or the 07 just yet. So a lot could happen here, Kyle. Got 2 laps to sell this out.
I really do think the 52 is in a good position. I like his aggression. He's got speed on the short run and the long run. He only needs it for the short run now. He just needs to want it more than Seth Knoll, and he got left behind on tire strategy now. Great pit stops. He's been getting lucky down there on pit lane. 8.8 seconds in the box. It puts him on the outside of the front row. 2 laps to go. It's 3 miles left. Unless we get another yellow before the white flag. Seth Knoll, Peyton Howell, green flag, and another terrible restart for the 52. He does not go, and the rest of the field stacks up behind him on the outside lane.
Yeah, I mean, we only had 2 restarts tonight, but unfortunately he's been 2nd place in both of them and had a poor run in both of them. This one worse than the first, but now he has a chance to try to make it up here. He's going to push
he's in
into
the
the wall. Same thing with Adam Cabot. Coming off of turn 2, a bump from Adam Cabot to the 52. Jake Matheson to the inside, side by side between Nichols and Scioli. Now 3 wide with Howell in the middle, and Scioli as they lead. Seth Knoll coming out of turn 4.
They're looking for the white flag, and it's waving. 1 more lap for Seth Knoll for his 5th win on the year. Jake Nichols is highest 2nd as he's been all race. He's got less than a lap left to settle it out.
They're 4 wide in the back. There's no way they get around another lap doing this. They're 4 wide there as well. This is dicey stuff. Is there going to be calamity on the backstretch, or will we make it back? Seth Knoll leads the way, looking for his 5th win. Here comes Jake Nichols in the 73, trying to make a big send. The field is packing up behind, trying to steal positions at the end, but Seth Knoll comes out of turn 4. Win number 5 at Chicagoland, and they're spinning in the background across the stripe. Knoll wins. Nichols, Scioli, Howell, Matheson, and Calamity. Wow.
Oh.
I repeat, wow. All of that to set up for that.
See everyone giving congrats to Seth Knoll, who is setting on a clinic this season. 5 wins to his name.
Unbelievable finish, and just inopportune timing for the 52 of Payne Howell to not go on the restart. We end up with the Solar Flare 1, 2, 3 once more.
They will celebrate as such. And the one will do his burnouts in celebration. He has gotten awful used to doing these. while he celebrates, let's go back and look at the collisions that happened. I saw the 14s involved in one of them, so let's see how this kicked off.
I think with Cabot right there, I think he was trying to, I don't know what he was trying to do there, actually. I don't know if he was trying to get Cabot to move out of the way and kill his run, so that way he can beat him at the line. There is a penalty for that, so I don't know if that was the best choice for Crescent. We'll see what the admins think of it after the fact.
I think it was Senesac that comes in here and just gives him a real good wallop right there. All that aside, got our race winner. Let's have a look at our race results here, guys. And at the top of the board for the 5th time this season, Seth Knoll, Jake Nichols, James Scioli. And the Solar Flare guys, again, performing and proving that they're one of the best teams here in the series.
Yeah, no surprise to see their names up near the top of the board. Then Peyton Howell having to settle for 4th place. A decent run for him, as well as Jake Matheson, who started all the way back in 39th. Great climb forward for him. Adam Cabot, then Greg Mitchell, Michael Curran, Connor O'Kresick, and Nick Solar will round out your top 10.
Yeah, crazy running order. Springer finishes outside the top 10, finishes 11th, and Tyler Nichols, solid 12th place finish. Ed Shearer Jr. 13th, Connor Horn rallies for 14th, Reese Schaefer 15th, Newbigging, Jeremy Miller, Garrett Grant, Cameron Hearn, and Landon Cardolo round out the top 20.
Bailey Turner comes home 21st place, and looking down the rest of the order, you got drivers like David Weishart that should have, could have, would have earned better. Blaze McKinney as well in that 87 down in the 25th spot. Seth Berger 30th, disappointing night for him. But for really the disappointing ones, for sure, Justin Bondurant, we've got Ryan Hartz, of course, Mason Kane, Philip Groner, and Jonathan Oates out with collision damage early on in this race. 3rd place, though, tonight, James Scioli just missed out. It was very close at the end. Green-white checkered after a nearly entirely green race. Only 2 cautions on the night, James. The intensity was up, but a P3, not a bad night, and a Solar Flare top 3. Good evening for you, too, or you 3, rather.
Yeah, great run for Solar Flare. Really happy about that. Happy to have all of us up front. Always fun racing those guys. I know we're all going to race each other clean, but hard and fair, and racing for the win is always fun, especially with those guys. So super happy about that. Not my favorite combo. This car just really tends to be super tight here, so just ended up picking up a lot of plow on a lot of the runs, and I lost a little bit of track position on that first pit stop, and so just kind of put me behind the 8-ball a little bit. I ended up getting behind some people who were a little tighter than me, and by the time I finally got through, just didn't have the draft of the cars in front. You got to stay in the draft here. You can't do it by yourself. So, but all in all, definitely happy to finish 3rd for sure.
Well, tell us about this long run here, because we had drivers kind of pit, over a span of about 10, 15 laps, and it seemed like tires were worth something, but track position seemed very critical at other points in the race. So what made your decision to come down when you did?
Yeah, I knew I wanted to be after some people. I always like to kind of be on the later side, just in case it comes down to, getting around those guys later in the run. I'd rather kind of let them go and burn their stuff off, and then hopefully have fresher tires and can make passes easier later in the run, rather than pitting early and getting caught behind slower cars and traffic or something. So that's always kind of what influences my decision. I think I pitted right at the right time. I didn't come out in any traffic, was just able to kind of stay in the toe of J-Math and just try and get as much spots as possible.
James Scioli in the Solar Flare number 7, 3rd place tonight at Chicagoland. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. And before I go, just want to, once again, huge shout out to Solar Flare for the top 3 sweep. Pretty cool. And big shout out to Drafty Car also for being on the car. Thanks to you guys, the admins, and everybody who helps us race every week. And hopefully we're talking at you guys again on Thursday.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
And Jake Nichols comes up runner-up tonight in the 73, and maybe could have had something with another lap or 2, but everybody took 2 tires on that final pit stop, Jake. And as Finian said up here, when everyone takes 2 tires, nobody takes 2 tires. Your thoughts on those last 2 laps?
Just team. I was all focused on the team. I didn't think it was going to hook up as good. I kind of anticipated everyone to just go straight, because we took 2 under green. So then taking 2 obviously there, our left sides were worn out. So we lifted a tad bit on entry to 1 on the restart. So then we got a great run out of 2. Got past James, but tonight was a team effort. Obviously, anytime you get a 1, 2, 3, it's pretty big, but that gives us a huge point lead. We're almost 2 races ahead now, and that was kind of the goal: get a huge point lead so we can just go into the playoffs and just do whatever's necessary to get to the Final 4, pretty much. So we've been doing that. I didn't expect to really get an interview in this race, because it was I don't know. That's just not my specialty. Most of the time, we were so tight tonight, and it was just so draft filled with how this Cup car works and grip tracks. But we caught a lucky break there with the caution, and I knew we were set pretty much when we were all three on the bottom lined up. I knew we were going to be 1, 2, 3, as long as we didn't mess it up. Just didn't know the order, but I couldn't really do much with Seth there. It's just so gripped up for those last laps. I tried to maybe run the top, get something going, but either way, we'll take it. Awesome night for our team. I mean, big time proud of my squad here. Tyler clutched up for a 12th, so it's a shame that Philip was involved in an incident earlier, but I think we made up for that with our 4 cars finishing very, very well tonight.
It was a great night for Solar Flare Racing and for you, Jake. Congratulations. P2 for the 73.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Seth Knoll continues to rack up the victories, running out of space on the virtual trophy shelf. Number 5 of the season, Seth. And this one, you had some battles there with Peyton Howell late in the race. Late race restart almost took it away from you. 84 laps led, though, and in overtime. Wow, what a race. Take us through it.
Well, first of all, Kyle, I had to make up for you not picking me this week.
Well, every time I picked you, okay, I don't know what's going on, but I have 3 wins and somehow last, so it's not working out for me.
Well, you should have picked me tonight.
Clearly.
But, yeah, I mean, we just had really good pace. We had to make up for our championship kind of chance taken away last season here. We didn't really get to show them what we got. So we wanted to put that little redemption arc tonight, and our pace was just really good. Like, we just able to break the draft away from Peyton and Adam, and then James and Jake and Matheson all just kind of got stuck where they couldn't break through that before we pitted. And then I got really lucky with Drew taking tires like 4 laps after me, that I just held his draft the rest of the race until the green white checkers. And once we get there, it's just go as hard as you can, and no one really can pass up front. But hell of a night for team points. Solar Flare boys are cooking. We'll see about putting that 5th sticker on. I think me and Jake had maybe agreed that we would stop at 4. But yeah, hell of a season. Keep it going next week at Indy.
Good luck to you, Seth. Thanks so much for talking to us. Congratulations on another win tonight.
All right, appreciate it, boys.
Thank you. All right, guys, what an evening. What a fun time. Finian, final thoughts on Chicagoland. The Windy City did not disappoint. Great battles all up and down the field. Fierce fight, green-white checkered, and we got it done in one go. Seth Knoll picks up his 5th win of the season.
Yeah, always entertaining stuff, a great race, fairly clean race from these drivers as well, and then also that green-white checkered in there, just to throw in a little bit of action when things were getting stale at the end. One of the better races you can ask for these drivers, and it did a fantastic job, but for some of them, they're going to be happy to head out of Joliet, Illinois, and head to Indianapolis at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for next week.
Yeah, one of those being Blaze McKinney. He won the last time out there with a perfectly timed green-white checker attempt and got the lead, and caution fell at the right time, so he was able to come through with that. You're going to need a better result, though, after the 25th place run he had. Had a top 10 run, but it's all the hometown boys like him, David Weishart as well. They're going to want to show out for their home track and want to make sure that they get their car into victory lane.
Well, that'll do it for Chicagoland tonight and the Area Cup Series. 2 more races here in my hometown, or at least my current place of residence, or nearby enough. 40 minutes out. We'll see you tomorrow for the Truck Series right here from Chicago.